is, like I said, pretty nice and short, short and sweet webinar, but want to cover just real quick some Izone Sharpshooter misconceptions and some Izone Sharpshooter clarification on some rules. Izone has been kind of developed over time. I mean, just like pretty much any system that we have released, we'll release a new system, we've back tested it, we've battle tested it, we've had beta testers review it, we've come up with rules, but that doesn't mean that over time we have not added in certain rules to other systems and made them better, clarified some rules, added on to it. That's part of something we always try to do here at Apex, is just not, hey, we slapped out some system, here it is, it's the best thing in the world, and never look at it again. Never learn to adapt it as markets change and seasonality changes and IV changes and so on. So even with Izone Sharpshooter, when we first released it months ago, there have been some new developments to that. There have been a couple of clarification of rules, maybe a couple little additions to rules. And I'm going to take some responsibility here as well. And, we've had a lot of people that have been posting stuff in the forum or even in the rooms or in the chats or the help desk, but we've had some people that have done a great job in the forum posting their charts, marking up their charts, and asking questions, going, hey, why did this trade not work out? Hey, what am I doing wrong? And I want to give some big props to you guys that are doing that. Even though you might not be perfectly following the rules, and we've addressed that in the forum, we wouldn't know that without you posting those charts the way you do. So kudos to you guys that are posting these charts and marking the entries and saying, hey, I entered here and here's why. Okay, and I want to give you a little bit of a tip there. When you post a chart in the room or say in the forum saying, hey, I need help here, this isn't quite working for me, here's a screenshot of my chart, here's an arrow of where I entered. That is great, but it's also great, and you guys have been doing a good job of it, to tell us why you entered there. Okay, it's like, hey, I entered here because there was a I zone and this was green and this was green and I was looking at this deviation. That really helps, in addition to marking your chart with arrows of your entry, so we can understand what is your perception of the rules. Where is it that you might be missing something? Okay, so great job on that, and make sure you do that. It really helps us to be able to answer your questions, but to also determine where the misconception might be so that we can fix it a lot easier and a lot quicker, as opposed to a bunch of back and forth in the forum like, okay, well, hey, why did you enter there? Well, because this was green. Well, were you looking at that? Well, give us as much information as you can up front, and we can give you a lot of information back very quickly as well. Okay. Well, like I said, there have been some rules that have been defined and developed over time, and that has actually caused a little bit of confusion. And I'm going to take a little bit of responsibility for that myself, because I have to be honest with you. I have to even admit I had some of the old rules in the back of my mind that when I was going back through, realizing, hey, there's some older videos here that were really great, and had Daryl walking through some trades and some trades that made some great money, or some older webinars that were really good training, and there's really good stuff in them, but it might not be 100% the most up-to-date rules. And that's where I'm going to take the responsibility of, I needed to get rid of those videos. And that is one of the big things on my list, is to make sure that if there's any older videos with the Izone Sharpshooter that might have any kind of different examples or screenshot examples or anything at all, that I want to go through and get that out of there. Okay, but the most recent, if you're on the Apex website here, if you go to here, for example, Apex Elite tab, you go to step number 3, Izone Sharpshooter course. Okay, this is the only one you need to be watching. Yes, there's some extra bonus videos we have in here, and I'm going to go through and clean those up to make sure they're all 100% accurate to help with any of these misconceptions. But everything you need is in this video section here, which I'm in the process of making into an actual training course style with the units and the modules and the quizzes. Okay, and you know, this, if you're already trading Izone Sharpshooter, I'm going to recommend that you go back to these videos. You don't need to really watch the intro. You don't need to really watch the bars or even the templates if you're already familiar in trading with the system, okay? Go back and watch just this one video, entry and exit rules, all right? I've had some people recently, they're like, well, I'm trying to learn this, but I was watching this thing from way back, or I was watching a presentation y'all did for, you know, NinjaTrader or for Trading Pub, just kind of briefly showing Izone Sharpshooter, and I was looking at these entry. Forget all that for now. I'm going to clean that up and make sure it's all clarified. This is the video to watch, okay? This is the only one you need here. So, like I said, I want to go through and address a few of these misconceptions and a few things that we've seen in the forum quite a bit. And I just want to start off with that. Make sure you're watching the most up-to-date videos, okay? And I'm going to go through and adjust a couple of these other videos. Chris said video not updated. Which video were you referring to? This video right here is the most updated and correct video, the one that's in this particular training right here, okay? So some of the other videos are a couple months old and might have a few differences, and it might even also show a little bit different template. Visually, it might look different and so on. But the templates can change, and some of the indicators, the way they're laid out, can change as well. So make sure for now that this is the training that you want to go to and that you want to use. All right. So wanted to walk through a couple of areas of confusion here. All right. Just give a few examples of good trades, bad trades, and like I said, just address some of the things that have come up quite a bit in the forum, and hopefully it'll help you out here. All right. So a couple things here. One of the things I've seen a lot of is people saying, hey, I took this trade because everything was green, or I took this trade because everything was red, so I just took it, okay? But they're not taking them off of iZones, all right? Just because a chart and all the indicators may randomly turn green or randomly turn red, that's not in and of itself an entry, all right? It has to be bouncing off of an iZone, okay? Or I've seen as well, might be taking them the wrong direction. Let's see if I can show you a couple of examples here. I'm just going to walk through a few things, okay? And this was actually a screenshot that we had to get rid of from before because it was actually marked wrong in the forum. But a couple of examples here. Just because I've seen it a lot. People say, well, everything is green or everything is red, so I just took it. But they're not taking them off of iZones, all right? There's no iZone there. And just keep in mind, if we're going to take a long, yes, everything has all the indicators to line up green, but it has to be bouncing off of a green iZone, okay? It can't just be randomly somewhere in the middle that something turned green or randomly that everything turned red. Those are not valid entries, okay? So that's the first thing I've seen quite a bit of. Secondly, what I've also seen is the wrong direction. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look right here, for example. All right, right here, we've got everything green, right? All of our indicators are green. We've got green trend catcher, green MVP. We've even got a green bar right here. And look, I'm close to an iZone, all right? See these greens, these are iZones. Jonathan, just real quick, these green levels here, these are green iZones, all right? These brownish red here, these are iZones as well. So I've seen this as well posted in the forum as a misconception, okay? Of, hey, everything is green, so I just randomly took it. Well, no, you got to be bouncing off an iZone. Well, look, there's an iZone right here, and everything turned green, so I took it. Okay, well, you're going long on a short iZone. Does everybody understand that? If all these things lined up green right here, and it was bouncing off one of these green iZone levels, then yes, that would be a valid long entry, a valid buy entry. But it's not valid if it's off of a short I zone. Okay, does that make sense? We'll talk a little more about bouncing and how close it has to be here in a minute. Okay, but first of all, I just want to, some of this may be very elementary to some of you, but we've actually seen it quite a bit. Okay, so not just randomly everything turning green or everything turning red anywhere. It has to bounce off of an I zone. All right, does everybody understand that? Let's just start with that basic there. Okay, does everybody understand? It's not just randomly anywhere on the chart, everything turns red or everything turns green that we enter. It has to be off of an I zone. That's the very first thing to clarify. It's not just random red or green, it's off of an I zone. All right, secondly, does everybody understand that for us to take a long trade, okay, we'll get to how close it has to be here in a little bit. Okay, we've got 3 or 4 of those questions coming through. We're doing one thing at a time here. All right, so does everybody understand for us to take a long trade, meaning to buy, everything has to be green, but it has to be bouncing off of a green I zone and everything green to go long, to buy. Does that make sense? Does that make sense that right here, this is not a valid long trade? Even though everything's green, everything's flipped green, we've got green trend catcher, we're going long off of a short. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand why this trade right here is not a valid long? Because we're going the wrong direction there. Okay, like I said, for some of you, it's like, yes, I got it, that's elementary. But we've actually had quite a bit of confusion off of that. Well, I just thought everything had to be green or everything had to be red off any of those levels, because I just thought those were certain resistance levels and support levels, and if it hit that level, you know, it might reverse, but if it hit that level, it could keep going. So if it hits this level and everything turns back to green, I can still keep going. So it's not a valid entry. Okay, this is not a valid entry here. All right, so that's the first thing I wanted to clarify. Not just red and green and not just off of levels. It has to be the proper direction of the level. Okay, let's see here. Abdul, what about the bottom one? It's all green? Abdul, you're talking about right here? Okay, we're going to get to this type of example in just a second, but actually no, this is not a valid entry because yes, it's coming off of a green level, but we still have red bars. Okay, so we're going to talk about that here in a second because we still have red bars. All right, so yes, if we were going to take a long, technically this would be the right level to do it at, because all we're looking for, and maybe this will help clarify it too, if you're down here in the greens, okay, in this green levels here, you're not looking for a short trade. There's no short trades that you're looking for at all in here. You're only looking for long trades. Up here, when you're up into these levels in here, you're not looking for long trades. You're only looking for a setup to go short. That makes sense? Does that help clarify it? When you're down in the green, you're only looking for one direction. You're up in the red, you're only looking for one direction, not both. Okay? So, first of all, I wanted to clarify that. All right? Let's see here. Elijah says, so it's okay to leave 70 ticks on the table. You know what? Following the system rules, are you going to give up some trades? Yes. Are you going to miss some trades? Yes. Are you going to miss some trends? Yes. But there's times when you don't follow the rules that it's going to hit you. All right? The rules are the rules. If you want to deviate from them and just take random here and there, you can, but your results are not going to be the same. I'm just clarifying the system rules. So yes, it's always okay to leave 70 ticks on the table when you're saving yourself from maybe losing 700 because of things going against you. And we'll look at a few examples of that. Okay? You cannot force trades. Exactly, Chris. Do not force entries. You'll learn the hard way. Okay? Totally learn the hard way. And I don't mean, I'm not trying to be harsh at all, Elijah. I'm just saying, yeah, because I'll show you a couple other examples here where you're like, oh man, I mean, yes, following these rules exactly is going to keep you out of some trades. Absolutely. I mean, look right here. Market's coming up. We're kind of bouncing off of this short level here, but boom. Did we quite take this trade right here? No, because not everything was lining up. These bars weren't, this bar was not red on the same bar of the trend catcher. It turned red here, but that was too late to enter. So did we miss this? Yeah, we did. Okay, we did. All right. So let's see here, Chris. That contradicts what Daryl says in the video. You need to be ready for a long and short always because a red zone or a green zone might show up. Yes, you could have a new zone that pops up. Okay, you could have a new zone that pops up, and therefore if it pops up, yes, you can be ready to go another direction. The point I'm trying to get across here, all right, yes, you want to be ready for if a new zone pops up. The point I'm trying to get across here is to mainly address the misconception that people are having of taking longs on the short zones and shorts on the long zones, all right? It's not just about lining up red or green and entries. It's red or green off of the I-zone levels and off of the proper direction of the I-zone levels, okay? So, and another example of that right here. Let's look. Right here, we've got everything lining up green, and actually, had we taken this one, yeah, we'd have made a little money there, right? But are we coming off of a green zone here? No, we're actually taking that right there at a short zone, okay? So that's the first thing I want to clarify. Not just green and green, not just red and red, has to bounce off zones and has to go in the proper direction. Is there any questions about just that in and of itself before we move on? I want to handle each one of these issues that I've seen in the forum. Okay. All right, now another misconception, and we are getting a couple questions about, well, what about trend catcher? Okay, well, let's talk about trend catcher for a minute. One of the other points of confusion that I have seen come up is, especially for some of you guys that have been with us for a while, that we're trading the old trend catcher system. Okay, you have to realize that Izone Sharpshooter is its own standalone system. Okay, Russell, the webinar is not set up that way. Okay, there's no reason to see them. Izone Sharpshooter is a standalone system. All right. Yes, we do use the trend catcher indicator within the Izone Sharpshooter system, but it's a completely different system from the actual MVP trend catcher system that some of you have traded in the past. All right. It's totally different from the 5-minute binary trend catcher system. It's completely different. And that's one of the things that I've seen people get mixed up as well with, that I just want to clarify, especially for anybody that's new, okay, is right here. Like, for example, you go to the binary essentials, you'll see Sharpshooter, and then you'll see 5-minute binary trend catcher, and then right here you'll see Izone Sharpshooter, and then elite trend catcher. These are completely different systems, okay? And what I've seen a lot of people do is get mixed up because of the names, all right? Or because of certain indicators, okay? Certain indicators are used in several of these systems altogether. Russell, no problem at all. No, you didn't interrupt at all. So I want to clarify that. Just because certain names may be the same, or there might be certain indicators that are used in more than one system, does not mean the same rules apply to each system or that the same rules apply to each indicator in a different system. Okay, so I first of all want to clarify that. All right, if you're trading the Izone Sharpshooter, you need to just follow the rules that are in just that system. Okay, so I've seen a lot of people kind of combining these. All right, and part of the issue also stems from I've seen some new people trying to watch every single course we have and learn every single system we have, and they're never really focusing on just one. All right, or they'll start trading one of the systems and they'll have a bad day, or maybe there's a slow couple days in the market and they're like, well, I'm going to go learn one of the other systems, and then I'm going to learn that one for a few days and I'll trade it for, and then I'm going to learn another one. And after a couple of weeks, you're so confused and you're mixing up all the rules and you know, combining trend catcher system rules with Izone. It's just confusing. All right, so what you really need to do is, if you're trading the Izone Sharpshooter, you need to focus on that system, master it, learn it, demo it, ask questions, get it down, trade it in demo, be profitable in demo, and then move over to live. Andrew says guilty, right? And it's easy to do. Like, I'm not harping on anybody here. I've done it myself in the past, especially when I was new. And especially since some of these names are close, or like I said, the indicators are used in more than one system. It's very easy to get things mixed up. Or you're in the room and one person might be trading a certain system and then there's another chart, you know, and someone else is trading a different system, and you get really mixed up. And it's easy to do. So, and I've seen it happen. So keep that in mind. Whatever system you're using, make sure to not get it confused. Okay? And that's why I said I would make sure to, if you're trading Izone Sharpshooter, rewatch the entry video here. Jonathan said, yeah, that's how I'm feeling as well. Okay, so rewatch those. Make sure to rewatch the entry video in there. Also, another thing I've seen, make sure to use, when you go through the Izone Sharpshooter course here, there's an intro video explaining the bars, and then right here, okay, I want to just clarify this. Daryl in this video walks through, kind of has a clean chart and adds each indicator on one at a time, explaining to you what it is, showing you how it works. But then at the end shows you, hey, we already have it done for you. There's a pre-made template in the toolkit. You don't have to build this chart yourself. All right. And I've seen a lot of people that are posting charts in the forum saying, hey, what's going on here? Like, what did I do wrong? And I'm looking at the chart going, man, something's wrong with this chart. And sometimes it'll take me a minute to figure it out. I'm like, something's missing, or this is not what I have on my chart. And what it is you're not using the actual Izone Sharpshooter template that's in the toolkit. You're building it yourself, and you're adding on like trend flip and bar this and that, but you're forgetting one or two of the indicators. Okay. And or the other thing I've seen is, hey, looks like everything is on there, but because you added it yourself and you changed some settings in the indicators, what you're seeing is not what other people are seeing that are using the template. You're showing flips at different places and trend catchers at different places, and you're wondering why you're not matching up. And that's because you might have built your own chart and changed some settings, as opposed to using the pre-made template that already has everything exactly how you need it. Okay, so make sure to do that as well. All right, so make sure to use the template. And like I said, yes, you want to always be looking for an entry, be looking for buy or sells. Just make sure that you're buying off the greens and selling off the reds, and you're not being biased, expecting the market to do something or hoping the market's going to do something. You're doing what the chart's telling you to do. Okay, so now that we've addressed that with trend catcher, okay, one of the other big points of confusion on the trend trades, I'm not talking about the chop scalp trades. We'll get to that here in a few. Okay. Jeff, you're asking where to find the template. It's in the toolkit. If you load NinjaTrader and you select your instrument and then just go to templates, there's a drop-down box, and it'll say Izone Sharpshooter. And if you watch that video there that I was just showing, at the end it shows you exactly where to find it, exactly how it loads and what it looks like and everything. Okay. So now that we've addressed some confusion with trend catcher, on the trend trades, okay, sometimes what I've seen in the forum is people saying, hey, why didn't y'all enter this trade? Or why did I enter this trade and it not line up? Okay. And this has been a big point of confusion. The trend catcher must line up with the bar color or there's no trade. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, this example right here, the market's coming down. We've got a green eye zone right here. Everybody can see that, right? We've got everything flipping right here. Now, the one indicator that does not have to flip at entry, that does not have to be flipped at our initial entry, is the MVP, right? But notice right here, we're bouncing off a green eye zone, okay? Everything's turned green. Right here, we have our trend catcher cyan arrow, which is like our heads up pending, right? And then right here, boom, we have the green trend catcher. And when that bar closed, it closed with green bar color, right? Can everybody see that it's green? It's not red, it's not orange, it's green, okay? So when the trend catcher confirmation, the green arrow appears, when that bar closes, it has to close green. Even if everything else is lined up green, even if, yes, it's bouncing off a green zone, if the bar color is not green, when the trend catcher arrow is green, it's no entry. Okay? It's no entry. Look what happens. So this trade comes up. All right? What does it hit right here? Hits another eye zone level, right? So we're going to be looking for a short. Well, what happens right here? We start to get some stuff turn red. Bands are red. Trend catcher red. See, we got a red short there. Now, granted, the trend flip hasn't flipped yet, but what color is the bar? It's still green. So we don't take that. Okay? We don't take that. All right? Kind of bounces around here, bounces around. And then what happens right here? Boom. Everything's red. Trend catcher goes red, and the bar color red. Now we can enter. Okay? We can enter that. All right? So, yeah, guys, I know there's a few questions here that I haven't got to yet, but some of them I knew we'd be covering and clarifying here. I'll try to go back at the end and answer what I can, but I think most of them are going to be answered here. Because that was a big point of confusion. All right? Was, well, hey, as long as everything eventually turns green, and it's going off a green eye zone, I can just enter it, right? No. For the trend trading, the green trend catcher has to line up with a green bar color, okay? And then you would enter 3 ticks above that, okay? Dozy, does that answer your question? Is that what you meant? How many ticks do you enter? Yeah. If it's bouncing off a green eye zone, everything turns green. When that bar closes, boom, you've got your green trend catcher, your green bar, 3 ticks above it, you're entering, and you're taking it. Okay? So, one thing at a time here. I want to be very kind of elementary here. Does everybody get that? Is there any question about that in and of itself? Does everybody understand? Even if it's coming off a green eye zone, even if everything else turns green, if this bar does not close as a green bar color, when you have the green trend catcher, it's no entry. Now, yes, are you going to miss out on some trades? Are you going to, miss out on some trends? Sure. And like even when you're up here, okay, even when you're up here, coming off the red, see right here, where was it? Let me see. All right, like right here. I've seen a lot of this happen. I've seen people say, okay, hey, the market's coming up, up, up. Boom, we're hitting this other level, and I'm starting to get some reds, and I got a red trend catcher, and I want to get in early because I don't want to get in late and miss the trade. Well, you know what? Here, this example, yeah, you'd have made out okay because the market did go down. But there's plenty of times where it's going to chop, and it's just not going to happen. Okay? The market is not going to go down. It's going to be choppy there. It's going to pop back up. I've seen a lot of, what I'm saying is I've seen a lot of people enter too early. Okay? Enter too early. And you don't want to get caught in that entering too early. You would rather miss out on a few trades here or there, miss out on a few trends here or there, but not get hit. Okay? So, yes, Polly, we are recording this here. Okay? So, in and of itself, any questions on that the trend catcher has to line up? Trend catcher needs to be 3 ticks within 2 bars. Okay? Abdul, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah. Rico, does that answer your question here? Rico's question was, okay, if you want to enter 3 ticks, if this lines up and you want to enter 3 ticks, how many bars you have to wait for it to be? 2 bars. Within 2 bars, okay, is what you want to do there. Okay? So, let's see. Now, okay, we're going to get to this in just a second, but a couple people are asking, well, hey, there's another I zone right there that's really close. Would you really have entered that, or would that be more of a scalp trade? Well, if you go through and you watch the videos there of the entry rules, one of the other things is if the MVP flips as well, that's your kind of extra confirmation to feel that that could be a trend there. Okay. Otherwise, you might have just scalped that, but since that MVP flipped as well within just a couple bars, all right, that's a kind of extra confirmation there as well. John, is that a valid short? At the seconds of the trigger down arrows when the red bar is. Are you talking about right here, John? Yes, this is a valid short. Because yeah, the market came up, bouncing off this I zone level, right? You got a red trend catcher here, but the bar's still green and the trend flip's still green, right? Then it kind of bounces around here, another green bar, then an orange bar, some up and down bars, okay? And then, boom, everything flips to red, and you've got a red trend catcher that matches a red bar, and then you could take that trade down, okay? So some people are saying, well, define a bounce. I mean, what is a bounce off of a I zone level, or how close does it have to be? Is there a set number of ticks? It's not a set number of ticks, or like, you know, well, for this instrument, it's got to be at least this close or that close. It doesn't have to be right off of it, okay? It just has to be close to it, all right? And that might be kind of a generic description of, well, define close. Well, I define that as still pretty close. I define it as the market went up. It's hitting not only this other I zone level, but also a deviation level. So I expect a little bit of a bounce there, but then still pretty close to it, everything's going red. And my trend catcher is lining up with a red bar, so I'm feeling pretty good that it's going to head down. Okay? So now if it didn't flip, if let's say everything flipped red right here, well, I define that as being closer to this level than it is to this level. So I might not take it, or if I'm going to take it, I'm going to look to maybe more scalp it. You know what I mean? Like if it's down here, I'm not going to take it in general, because that's just too close to this level, not this level. I'm going to be expecting more, looking for a long there. Does that make sense? Okay. Stan, I can't grab screenshots off of the questions thing here. I'm sorry. If you pop it over in the I'll try to take a look at it here after the webinar. If you pop it over in the help desk or into the chat here, and just have them get it over to me, I can take a look at that, or send it in the help desk, and I'll respond to the ticket for you. Okay, just put it to my attention there. Okay, so big point of confusion that I wanted to address there. The trend catchers, they have to line up. Okay, let's see here. Now, let's also clarify one other thing. There's been a little bit of confusion on your stops. Okay, so where are your initial stops? So let's say you entered this trade here. Okay, where is, when you enter a trade, where is your first stop? All right, well, I've entered a trade. When I enter a trade with the Izone Sharpshooter, my first stop is placed at the swing low or the swing high. Okay, so what does that mean? That means right here, the market, it was headed down, right? This was the low before it started making its up move. So when I first enter this long trade, the first place I'm going to set my stop is right here at the swing low. It's my initial stop. Okay. Then when the MVP flips, see the MVP right here was still red, right? When the MVP flips, which in this case would have been the same time, when the MVP flips, I move my stop to the MVP. And I'm trailing it up with the MVP as the market's going up, right? Okay. Then once the MVP has surpassed the trend flip line, I'm going to use the trend flip line. See that? So the MVP comes up and surpasses it here. Now, if you have a little smaller account, or you don't want to have quite the that far of a stop, you can use the trend flip line as your stop, a little bit closer of a stop. Okay, and so you'll just have to you'll have to move your stop up. Okay, it doesn't just automatically do it for you there. You'll have to move the stop up. All right, now what about up here? Same thing. When we go short here, where's the initial stop technically? Swing high, right? That's the swing high. All right. Now, then once the MVP is flipped, we're following it down with the MVP. Right here, the market comes back up, hits our stop, we're out. So we still got a good little run there. Okay. All right. Now, Chris, I'm not able to do that. We're just covering certain things today. I'm not sure what you're looking for as far as examples there. Let's see here. How far is also trailing with MVP? How many ticks? All right, you just have to look on a chart, and you can see that. You'll see how far away the MVP is and how many ticks that is. For different instruments, they tick differently, so you can't say it's a certain dollar amount. You just have to see for yourself whatever instrument you trade, if you're comfortable with that little farther away stop, or if you want to, trail it up with the trend flip line. Okay, so brief summary: entry, trend catcher arrow has to match the same color, or there's no entry. Initial stop is at the swing high or low, then you trail it with the MVP, and then with the trend flip. Okay, any questions on that in and of itself, what we're covering there? Everybody understand trend catcher arrow has to line up, or it's no trade? Everybody got that? Everybody also understands that, yes, sometimes you're going to see a trade and go, man, it didn't line up, but man, look, the market went crazy. Sure, you are going to miss some trades, you're going to miss some trends. That's how it works. But you're also going to see plenty of times where you're glad you didn't take it. Okay? So, all right. Kind of next point of confusion here that we've seen a lot of. All right? Let's see here. Abdul, no, Abdul, you cannot set that to trail like that. Give me just a second here to double check a few questions. We don't have time today to do more advanced training on Izone Sharpshooter and pull up charts and walk through days. I'm just trying to cover these certain misconceptions here to make sure that the entry rules are clarified, but pretty much most of these other questions that I'm getting here are all covered in, if we didn't cover them here already, they're all covered in the training. These questions have been answered. All you got to do is watch that one video, the entry video, and it covers most everything here. Let's see here. Stan, I think we got your question answered. Everything up to flip, including trend catcher. Let's see here. Buyback, scalping. Yep, we're going to talk about scalping here in just a second. Not the third or fourth. We can scalp on the third or fourth. Yep, got that. Okay, I think we've got that there. Okay, now another thing that is covered in the training video is choppy markets. When you see, especially when you see volume slowing down. I mean, look here, for example. See when the market was trending up here? How's volume doing? It's exceeding big time, right? And then what does it start to do? It starts to slow down, and then it starts to not even hit expectations in here, right? Also, what happens at the same time? You've got I zones close together here, very close together. And not only that, but what is this red line right here? Anybody know what this red line right here is? It's an ice zone, right? It's an ice zone. So, especially if you're straddling an ice zone or you're straddling a deviation level and you've got these two zones very close to each other, okay? Are we really expecting and our volumes died out? What do we know can happen a lot at deviation levels or at ice levels? We know the market can kind of bounce or chop there, right? We know it can have some oscillation and some chop there. We're kind of expecting that, especially if volume's dying out, right? If it gets to one of those levels and volume's going crazy, it might break through that ice, or it might break through that level with some good volume, right? But when volume's low, much less slowing down, you're straddling one of those levels and you've got two zones there. Are we really expecting huge trends? No, we're expecting the bounces, right? So sometimes people say, well, I can't trade today. The market's not trending. Sharpshooter's not going to work today. Okay. Hold on one second. Okay. So we talk in the training about how to use these levels to scalp. Just quick trends in between here. Okay, or quick trades in between here. Something I've seen a lot of in the forum and a lot of questions are people saying, okay, they'll post a chart just like this and say, okay, well, it was at this level, everything turned red, so I got in this trade and it came all the way back up here and hit me. So it was bouncing off green and some things turned green, so I got into this trade going long and it came up here and it came all the way back and hit me. And then I got in this one down here, and then when it came back up and hit me here, then I got in long. Okay, if you're going to use the trend trading rules and the trending stops in a choppy market like this, you're going to get hit, right? You're going to get hit. Russell, NQ did that exact movement from 11 a.m. and on. I grabbed all the swing low and swing highs with my stops only a few ticks away, very little risk per entry. Great. Perfect. Exactly. All right. But if you're looking at these levels, expecting big trends and holding on to the bigger stops, people are posting charts saying, I just keep getting hit and then getting hit and then getting hit. This is not working. Okay. Well, do you understand why that's not working? I mean, seeing this whole picture here, understanding what we just talked about, you're straddling a level. These zones are very close. Volume has died off. The market was trending with volume. Now it's choppy with no volume. That's part of reading the market, all right, and part of being able to see what's going on and have some expectations when you're able to read the market. So how can we trade this level here? How can we trade this type of chart here? Okay, this is where you got to pay close attention because the rules change here. All right, the rules change here. So we just talked quite a bit about trend catcher. And for us to take a trending trade, okay, trending trade, the trend catcher arrow has to line up with the proper bar color, right? We talked about that. Here's a pending long. Here's a green confirmed long trend catcher. But what color is the bar? It's red. So does that qualify for the rules of a trend trade? No, because it's not lining up and not everything is green. But does it qualify for a scalp trade in our current situation where we are straddling an ice level, volume's low, and these are close together? With the scalping, the trend catcher can be the opposite color of the bar. If it's coming down and we're bouncing off this, right here, we're going short. Are we expecting it to really go crazy? Are we expecting it to probably bounce? Right here, when we go long, are we expecting it to go too far or probably come back? We're expecting some quicker trades, okay? Yeah, the orange is totally fine. It just all that means it just hadn't been broken yet. It's still a level though. So right here, this red trend catcher did match up to red here, red bar color, right? So we could have taken that trade. All right, then right here, when it's bouncing off this green level, we've got a green trend catcher, but a red bar. So we can enter that trade as a scalp. Okay, we can scalp off of that. All right, they do not have to line up with the scalping method for the choppy markets when the levels are close. Okay, but only for scalping, not for trending. Okay, so these are just quick get in and out, not looking for big trends, just trying to go in and, you know, get 50, 100, 150 bucks, whatever, 10 ticks, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so the entry for the scalp is 3 ticks above or below the bar. All right, so right here, 3 ticks later, we would have entered. Where do we get out of the trade? When a bar hits the next I zone, boom, we get out. All right, right here. If we'd gone short on this one, where would we get out? Right here, when the bar hits this I zone. If we'd have taken this one long, we take it up to, boom, the next I zone and get out. Just quick in and out. Okay, that makes sense? Where's our stop on the scalps? At the swing high or low. So when this came down, boom, this was the swing low, right? Then it came back up, boom. So we're getting a scalp here. If it comes against us down to this level, we get out. Which goes in our favor up to the next size zone, boom, we get out. Now, yeah, like in this example here, when we gone short, yeah, it would have kept going a little bit, but we got out right here. Okay, or in this long, see, we got a bouncing off this level, green trend catcher, but red bar, but it's fine. We enter it, we go up, we're getting out right here. We got a few more ticks, sure. But did we know that the market was going to come there and then come back? No. Looking back, it's easy to say, well, you could have got a few more. You get out. You get in and get out. Get in, get out. So people think that these choppy days, there's nothing to trade. These days are terrible. These days, really? I mean, if you're making 100, 150 bucks, 100 bucks, 100 bucks, 100 bucks, 100 bucks, 150 bucks, that adds up pretty quick. But you got to follow those rules. Okay? Yeah. And then let's say you're doing more than one. That's just saying one contract. What if you're doing 5 contracts, 10 contracts? That really can add up there. All right? But you have to see the whole picture. Okay? So, I personally, I love scalping. Yes, we all love trend trading. We all love big trends. I love scalping. I love it. I love having those tighter stops. I love having the quicker trades. I love, 100 bucks, 100 bucks, 100 bucks, 100 bucks, 100 bucks. Yeah, I build my account over long term, and I've got 10 contracts, and it's 1,000 bucks, 1,000 bucks, 1,000 bucks, 1,000 bucks, 1,000 bucks. Oh, I hate choppy days. Really? Do you really? Yeah. The markets trend only 30% of the time. 70% of the days, the trading days, the markets are not hugely trending. All right? So yes, you want to have a trending system. You want to learn how to catch the trends. But to be a true trader, a true seasoned, knowledgeable trader, you learn how to scalp. You learn how to take the smaller moves. And you learn to read the market to know when to expect them. Now, is every single day or every single time the market gets choppy, is it always maybe as clear as this example I'm showing you here? ABC 1, 2, 3. No, it might not be. Some days it might be even more clear than this. It may be like volume's dead, zone, 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 easy. Sometimes it might be a little harder to see it. Sometimes a new zone will pop up. But when you're looking at the overall picture, okay, this is kind of a twofold thing here. One part of this webinar is me clarifying a few things and saying, hey, I want to make sure you understand the rules. I want to make sure you understand the ABCs of you only enter if this is red and this is green and this lines up with this. Yes, those are the step-by-step rules. But there's also part of that when you learn to just step back for a minute and look at your chart, of learning to read the market a little bit, of, hey, I'm not going to be biased and say just because the market's up, it has to go down, or just because it's down, it has to go up. No, I'm not going to have a preconceived idea and just take a random trade off of gut. But I'm also going to look at the market to say, well, what I would expect it to do when I'm seeing these zones come close together, and I'm seeing there was a previous trend with high volume and now low volume, I would expect it to bounce, especially because it's straddling an ice zone. So I'm going to expect it to bounce, okay? But I'm not going to just enter some trade randomly ahead of time and early on gut. I'm still going to wait for the market to come down and hit that green level, do a little bit of a reversal, get a green trend catcher, let it go up 3 more ticks, boom, then I'm going to enter for my scalp. Then I'm going to get out. Am I going to automatically just go the other way because it hit a level? Nope. I'm going to wait for the market to turn, get a trend catcher the other direction, and take it down to that level. Boom. And then what? Just randomly get back in? No. I'm going to wait for a reason to get back in because it's bouncing off the green zone. I get a trend catcher green, I'm popping that scalp too. Does that make sense? There's a difference of gut and what I think the markets should do or is going to do, so I'm just going to enter a trade early, as opposed to looking at an overview of the market, understanding why I think it's going to do these things, and then waiting for an actual entry and my indicators to tell me to do it. Okay? Does that help clarify at all some of these choppy days? And does that help for some of you guys that have maybe posted in the forum going, well, I entered this trade right here and I was expecting some big trend, and I waited for it to come all the way back down to here, and then I entered the, that's not what you're doing. You need to get in and out. And I've heard, here's the other thing I've heard a lot of on these choppy days. Man, I just get so frustrated because I see these two eye zones and I enter a trade and I'm watching my P&L and I'm getting all excited because it's up 150 bucks. And then my heart starts racing when it's like 140, 130, 120, 50, 40. It comes all the way back to zero. And then I watch it go 200 against me. And I'm just upset. So then I get in and I go the other way. And that's it. I'm up. I'm like up 100 bucks. And it's like a tease. Then it comes back up. Then I lose 150 bucks. Then I'm up. Okay, why do you think that's happening? Well, I can tell you why. Because when you got in right here to go long and you were seeing yourself up 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, 100, I'm up 120 bucks. What should you have done right there when it hit that level? Boom, get out. Take your 120 bucks. Well, but I had lost earlier, so I was hoping to be able to get it all back and make a few hundred to gain it back. Just don't. You're making it worse. Like I'm not even making this up. That's exactly what I've seen in the forum. Well, I was up 100 bucks here, then it went against me and I lost money. So this next one that was actually making me some money, I wanted to stay in it longer to make up what I lost. But then that one went against me and I lost on that one too. So I got into this next one hoping I'd make it all up there, but then that one went against me. And I started off being down like 150, and I ended the day being down 600. Where you should have ended the day making 100, 150, get out. Making 100, 120, hits that level, get out. You go short here, yes, it pops against you, but it didn't hit the swing high, so you stayed in it, came down, hit that level, boom, another 100, 150, got out. And it was just simply one little thing that turned, hey, I had a $150 loss, and I tried to make up for it and stay in these long trades, and I let them all go against me, and I ended the day down 600 bucks. And I'm upset. And I'm posting my chart in the forum wondering, what's going on? What did I do? Well, you didn't follow the rules. And what should have happened for you is if you would have just not been greedy and you would have followed the rules and got out with, boom, hey, made 100, 120, got out. Made 100, 120, got out. Made 100. If you would have just simply got out when it hit the next level, 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 you wouldn't have been down 600 bucks for the day. You'd have been up 600 bucks for the day. Does that make sense? Does everybody see that example there? And I'm not just trying to tell you a story. These are actual things in the forum that I've responded to and tried to explain. And hey, I'll be the first to tell you, and you all know this, that trading is a mental, psychological, discipline game. Because you know what'll tick you off is when it's like, okay, well, John kind of harped on us on that webinar. So when that thing was coming up, as soon as it got here, I got out and took my 120 bucks, like John said. But oh man, that John guy, because man, what did the market do? Man, the market went up here. It kept going up. I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to listen to him again. But then what happens? The next time, boom, it let it hit you. Boom. Next time, it hits you back. Don't look at that one time that you got out too early and you lost out on all that money. Because you didn't lose. You took 120 bucks off the table. Don't look at that one time, that one day, that one afternoon after that particular one news announcement that the market took off and you could have made 500 bucks. And that's the only thing that you got stuck in your head for the next 3 months is that one day. Okay? Look at every day and see how many of this you see all day. Okay? Yeah, Jeff says it's amazing you have to explain something that simple. It will amaze you. Okay? And that's why I want to clarify this. And most of the time that you see that happen, it's I'll tell you why, Jeff. It's normally it's a newer person, and I'm not getting on to new people. I did these same things when I was new. And why? Because you're so focused when you're new on, I need to learn the rules. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Hits this level. This is red. That is red. I'm entering. But all you looked at was, oh, yes, all this was a right color, but I didn't look at how close the next one was. I was just making sure that I was following that rule of only going short on this color or only going long on this color. I wasn't really paying attention to the next step down the road of how close is that level. Oh, I forgot to look at this crazy exceeding volume and then see it coming down, 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 down. Now it's not even hitting expectation. I forgot that part. I was so focused on the rules to make sure I was following the rules, which is great, that I forgot to kind of step back for a minute and also look at the overall market and reading the market. And you know the other thing I forgot to do? I just didn't even click in my mind of, what is this red line on my chart? I forgot that at a nice level, without exceeding volume, I should expect a bounce around for a while. I forgot that part. Okay? So, in a sense, some people are like, that's so elementary. Why would anybody do that? Well, it's because, especially as a new person, that's just part of the learning curve is I'm focusing on the ABCs and I'm forgetting to step back for a minute and look at everything on my chart. Okay? So, let's see here. Abdul, when you're trading scalps, do you set your stops or watch and get out manually? I personally set them myself just because I know where they're going to be. You know, if I know it's at the swing low, I personally set it myself and I have it set there just in case there's a quick pop. I mean, I know some people just watch them manually. I mean, even though I set them there, I don't walk away from my trade. I want to be watching it, you know. But I personally do set them. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Russell, you're talking about right in here. We're starting to stair step up, and you're hoping for it to exceed and maybe get another move, but it doesn't quite, and it kind of comes. Yeah, exactly. And you'll have those kind of days where it's like, hey, it was high back here, but now it's coming way down, and it's below expectation. But wait, we're starting to build. No, wait, are we? No, wait. And that's another thing that'll happen is you're like, oh, wait, volume's starting to build here. So maybe this is going to be a trend. Nope. Should have just followed the scalp rules and got out with my money and ran until I see some stair stepping exceeding, you know. So, okay. Does that help clarify some of this chop? And any other questions about this chop itself? And anybody in here, has anybody in here been, anybody on the webinar been guilty of not paying attention to those and trying to stay in for long trends? Have any of you seen this happening right here and you're all excited because you're up 100, 150 bucks and then all of a sudden you lose money and you're like, well, what happened? I'm frustrated. This isn't working. I want to make that big $400 move like I see Daryl do sometimes. I don't want to just take 120 bucks off. Well, guys, you know what? You know what's funny? So if you go back and look at some of Daryl's trades, yes, there's some of those days, especially on some news day, whatever. He'll catch those big moves. But have you also seen a lot of times his screenshots of his profits, like where he's up $400 or $500? Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, you've seen the $1,200 P&Ls on the spreads and the $800. Haven't you also seen a lot of $300, $400, and $500 ones? Like in some of the videos or like the ones he's done in the rooms or on the radio shows where it's like 400 or 500 or 600, like, and those add up. You also see that he's doing 10 spreads or maybe 12 spreads. So you're looking at like this, oh my gosh, 600 bucks, is that the market move crazy? Well, on spreads, if he's up 400 bucks on 10 spreads, the market really didn't have to move that much, did it? Like 4 points on the NASDAQ. Like one of these little moves could have done that for him. Right? Yeah, you've seen some of these big ones, but Daryl trades these little ones as well. These little ones add up. Okay? Like, don't think that you have to sit back and you can't make any money on trading or trading Izone without a big move. It's just not the case. I mean, in the time it took to make this move or one of these moves, sometimes the market can take a couple hours to move. You could have made just as much right here. Just one contract, 100, 150 bucks. When I'm saying a futures contract, okay? Yeah, he's not pulling out extra ticks from the market somehow. All right, he's doing more than one contract. Now, some of you can't do that to start with, but even with these little moves, they're not necessarily that little when you're, when you can have multiple contracts and then boom, 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 you're done. You're out. What's funny is, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a second, is I've seen this happen over and over again where, yeah, I mean, Chris says, 100 bucks a day and I'll be jumping, sure. And then what happens after a couple months? Well, I can do more accounts and then it's 200 bucks and it's 300 bucks and it's 400 bucks. I mean, it adds up. Take what the market gives you and run with it. But what's funny is I'll see this all the time in the forum or in the rooms of, man, the markets were just choppy today. I couldn't trade anything. I'm out of here, guys. See ya. And then, you know who, Lori, I call her Lori the show off when I give her a hard time. She'll pop in there going, oh man, I had 4 or 5 great trades on my scalps today and made about 750 bucks. And I traded from about 9:45 to 11. A whole hour and 15 minutes. She's like, yeah, I got to go now. I got to go work outside on my farm or go check my chickens or go whatever she's going to check that day. And she'll send me a screenshot and I'm just like, you show off. But then an hour later, around lunchtime, I see these people in the room go, man, there's just nothing going on. I got to go for the day. I can't make any money today. It's like, seriously? I mean, how could you not actually make money or even potentially more money on some of these choppy days like this? Now, let's move on a little bit here. Speaking of Lori, this is the other thing I want to talk to you about is adding on. Okay, yes, markets can be slower at times, seasonality, news, whatever. We always talk about having more plays in your playbook. We always talk about, if you start with a trending system and that's the first thing you learn, great. Secondly, learn some type of scalping system or range-bound system so that when you have days like this, you can still trade them. You see what type of market condition day it is and you know how to trade it. That is one of the beauties and one of the beautiful things about the Izone Sharpshooter system is it's one of the very few systems out there that can do 2-in-1. It's got a great trending system with specific rules for trending and specific stops for trending. But on literally the same chart, you can have a little bit different rules for scalping and taking 100 bucks, 100 bucks, 100 bucks. Okay? A lot of times people that have a scalping system and a trending system have to have 2 different charts and 2 complete different indicators and nothing's the same and it takes up more monitors. It's one of the nice things about Izone Sharpshooter is that one system lets you trade both. Okay? But the other thing you can do and simply add on as well is slingshots, elevators, and scalping the E's. All right, there's some more scalps that you can add on and that you can trade in between your Izone Sharpshooter trades. Now, I think most of you guys are familiar with slingshots and elevators and E's. If you're not, I'm about to kind of show you where to watch some information about them. As you know, Lori trades them every day in the room. That's kind of her bread and butter trade. That's her baby. They are great trades. They're probably my favorite trade, personally. And I know they're hers as well. Like, I love Izone Sharpshooter. It's our best overall Apex system we have. My personal favorite trades are these three trades here: the slingshots, elevators, and E's, scalping them, okay, in between the trades. And I'm going to show you where you can get some information on that. And Lori's got all kind of marked up charts here where she shows you, you know, here's an E that she scalped, boom. Here's an elevator that she scalped, boom. Here's another E, here's another E. Here's an elevator trade. Here's a sling trade. Here's a sling trade. Here's a sling trade. Here, it adds in so many of these. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Yep. And in the video here, if you go to, if you're on the Apex website, I'm going to show you where you can get this, because you can add it on to the same chart, or you can use a different chart. Lori uses two different charts. Daryl likes to put them all on one chart. Doesn't matter. Either way you want to do it, they both work. If you want to have a separate chart, or you want to have, you know, everything on one, totally up to you. Okay. So right here, questions tab, trading questions forum. Lori, is that you sending me the LOL right there? Because I called you a show off. Okay. Okay, trading questions forum here. Just go down to, actually, hold on. Guys, let me check one thing. I want to see if this is done yet. If not, give me a second here. Okay. All right. Questions, trading questions forum. I'm going to move this a link. I'm going to put a link to this under the Elite tab as well. But go down here to watch webinars here. Traders helping traders. Right here. THT. Slings, elevators, and general questions. Lori does a video here where she's got the continuum bar chart showing here, walking you through how to do elevators, slings, E's, and everything. Okay? It is worth watching this video. All right? And you can go through here and read a bunch of information. She explains to you exactly how to do them in the video. She, yes, somebody says, hey, what are the E's? Yes, the E's are from the Apex Elite pattern. Okay? Like you see right here, the A, P, E, X, the Apex pattern. She goes through, watch the video. She goes through explaining them, showing you what she's doing. Okay? She goes through and kind of explains each thing. What is a sling? What is a sling? How does that work? What is an elevator? How does that work? Screenshots of it, explanations of it, showing you all these extra trades that you can add on to your trading time, to your trading day, or even to the same chart if you wanted. You know, some people like one chart, some people like two. I personally kind of like two as well, like Lori does, just to keep it clean. She goes through and explains each one of these trades. And if you'll go back and test it, if you haven't done this yet, you will see that there are trades everywhere. Like, no one should have any reason to ever say they didn't have enough to trade. If you're watching a couple different charts, or let's say you're watching one FX pair, or one commodity, and one, you know, indice, that way in case something's not moving, maybe something else is, you don't need to be watching 10 or 15 charts, okay? Even if you're just watching a couple of charts, if you've got Izone Sharpshooter on there, watching for the big trends, good trends, if you've got Izone Sharpshooter and you're watching for those choppy scalps, but then you're also looking for slingshots, you're also looking for elevators, you're also looking for E's, there is no reason for you not to have plenty of trades throughout the week, like at all, okay? So, yeah, Chris, that's part of the other reason I kind of like that as well, to have it on a separate chart, okay? But I can show you how to fix that, Chris, by the way. So yes, so go through and check this out. There's a bunch of information here, a bunch of screenshots, tons of examples, and all you have to do is literally open a chart and run a replay or just leave a chart going, and you'll see there's plenty of trades here. All right, and that is the path. If somebody were brand new and asked me, what is the path? What should I do? Well, I would say the first thing you need to do is learn the Izone Sharpshooter and the trending rules. Okay, what do I add on next? Well, they're like, so should I go add on another trending of your systems now? No, you have a trend system. You don't need to go add on a second trend system yet. If you have a trend system, the next thing you need to do is, how do you trade range-bound choppy days? Well, within the same Izone Sharpshooter system, learn the rules of the choppy days. Learn the rules of how to trade the days like this. So you know how to trade trending and you know how to trade chop. Great. What next? Add on slings, add on elevators, add on E's, and scalp them. Okay. So, here Don saying, are you trading binaries when you're doing the slings or elevators? No. With the slings and elevators, I'm trading futures on those, and Lori's trading futures on those. There are some people that are trading binaries with them, and they actually can work very well if you use the at the money binaries. Okay, like if you follow the same rules here that you'll see as far as the entries, and you trade like the at the money binaries, and you're just looking for a scalp as well. Say, Lori, what are you going for on those normally? Lori's training some people on doing them on the binaries, you know, going for like $20, $25 scalp. Okay, so you can follow the same rules that you'll see in Lori's video as far as the entries. If you want to do them, if you're not a futures trader and you want to trade them on binaries, you can. What you want to do is take an at the money. Okay, but I'm going to warn you something here. Listen close. we are testing this out. We are testing them out on binaries. Lori has some people working on it. Once we nail everything down, we will come up with a little bit of more of a system and put some videos out on it. Okay, it's just still in the works. All right. Couple things. You first of all want to have some time in your favor. Okay, you want to have, like, if you've only got 10 minutes till expiration on a binary, don't choose that binary. Choose the next hour out binary. Okay. Or Lori, are they mainly looking at these for 20s or hourlies? A lot of the tests you're doing. First of all, I'll tell you this. These are not for 5-minute binaries. Do not do the E's, the elevators, or the slings on 5-minute binaries. You can do them on 20-minute binaries, or you can do them on hourly binaries. But you just, Don, you want to make sure that you have some time in your favor. That's why 5 minutes is not good enough. Okay. You want to have at least, say, 15, like if you're trading 20-minute binaries, you want to have, say, at least 15 minutes left in that binary. Okay. If you don't have 15 minutes left in that 20-minute binary, just use the hourly. Do the next hourly expiration. You want to give yourself enough time for it to move. Okay, does that make sense? Because basically what some of these are, you know, like especially with the slingshots, is the market's moving, or the with the slings, for example, is the market's moving a certain direction, but then it kind of hesitates and pulls back and then takes off that other direction, and you just want to make sure you have a little time in there. All right. The other thing you want to make sure is do not do cheap old $15 out of the money binaries. Okay. You don't want to do deep in the money binaries, like buying them for 80 bucks and trying to make 20 bucks. No. What you want to do is you want to get the at the money binaries, you know, that are already about, you know, I'm talking like $40 to $60. Okay. All right. Preferably like if you're going to buy, like if you're going long, let's say if you can buy it in the 40s, like say you can buy it between 40 and 50, and That way it goes in your direction, it gets over your strike, starts to have a little bit more movement, getting close to expiration. Bam, you can get 20, 25 bucks out of it and get out. It's still a scalp. You're still scalping. Okay, so let's see here. Chris has a question. On average, how many ticks does an at-the-money binary have to move to make 25 bucks? Hard question to answer, because first of all, first thing it has to do with is time. You know, how close to expiration are you? Are you over your strike and you're getting close to expiration, so it's moving quick? Okay. But the second thing has to do with which instrument you're trading. You know, for example, like, what is it, pound dollar? Like if you're trading pound dollar, for example, it's like what, 10, the strikes are 10 ticks wide, I believe. But like dollar yen is like 4 ticks or whatever. You know what I mean? To get to the next strike ladder, you know. So each instrument's a little bit different there. Okay. But your fastest, so it's just kind of a tough question to answer there. I normally don't, I don't know if you'd have to look at the number of ticks necessarily. It might be more of a question of how many strike ladders. Like if you look at a strike ladder, you know, or use the calculator, you know, you can maybe figure that out too. But you also have to keep in mind that it's different, meaning, you know, in the mornings, like if you're trading the Russell, for example, sometimes early morning, those prices between those strike ladders are very close together, especially depending on news and IV. And that's the other thing, is that the answer to that can change, because it can be one thing in the morning and it can be completely different at night. Okay, normally you're going to need like two strike ladders. All right, meaning if you're at one strike, it's going to need to move 2 strikes normally to get what you're wanting. But you know, I've also seen in the morning sometimes on certain pairs where it might take 3 to get that. You know, it just depends on some of the pricing in IV, especially on some news days too. So, but yes, you can do these scalps with, you know, with futures, with Forex, with binaries. There are some people that are doing with these very tight spreads, like with gold or NASDAQ. But you want to add them in. So again, where do you start? Start with Izone Sharpshooter, trending, then add on the choppiness. Then you want to add on those 3 scalps: slingshots, elevators, and the E's. Okay. All right. Yes, somebody's asking. Well, let me just make sure everybody knows where to find that one more time. I'm gonna put a link to it under the Elite tab. But for now, questions, trading questions forum. Scroll down here to just the easiest, quickest way, I guess. Watch webinars here, traders helping traders, and right here, slings, elevators, and general scalps. Okay, you can watch all that information there. So, just more plays in your playbook. So, just quick summary. I hope this helped a little bit. For some of you, you might feel like, oh, I knew all this. I'm not sure why somebody would have all this trouble with all this. Izone Sharpshooter is easy. Well, there has been, like I said, some developments along the way, some older videos in the mix that we're cleaning up. And the biggest thing is just mixing up the 2 different systems. You know, rules from Elite, rules from Sharpshooter for binaries, rules from Trendcatcher for this. Scratch all that, rewatch the entry video for Izone Sharpshooter. You'll have all those rules down. Okay, so hope that helped clarify some of that. Rewatch the videos. Again, make sure to use the pre-made template, and make sure to add in the scalps for the Izone Sharpshooter and the, we'll call them the Lori scalps, your slings, your elevators, and your E's. Post your charts and ask some questions in the room. Next week, Thanksgiving week, we are updating, and let's see here, Tony might have got it updated. We will not be doing any radio shows next week. We will not be doing a webinar next week. I will do a Monday night webinar for Nadex on Monday, but we will not have a Thursday webinar, and we will not have any radio shows next week either. Okay. Apex will be closed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, we will be checking on, the rooms, a couple of the rooms will be open, the forum is available to you, and you can still submit help desk tickets. We will try to check them throughout those days there and over the weekend, but, so the staff will check in on those, but otherwise the full-time staff will not be here. I think Marilyn and Lori are going to try to take some time off as well, but they'll try to kind of check in and out of the rooms also. But most of the markets are going to be closed anyway. It's a great time to, take some time off and take some time off from trading during the holiday week. Sometimes those holiday weeks can be a little bit different type of market conditions than what you're used to day to day, but take some time off, enjoy some time with your family. If you want to do some trading, do some back testing, watch some videos, catch up on some of these courses, go through and watch some of Lori's THT there. But no webinars and no radio shows. But I will talk to you guys Monday night. Otherwise, I hope that everybody has a great and a safe holiday and spend some good time with you and your family. I know I'm going to try to do the same and take a little time off here. So, okay, guys, I sure appreciate your time. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down here. We went a little longer than I had wanted to. I hope this helps a little bit. I will get this video up here a little bit later today. Otherwise, if you have any questions, hit us up over in the forum or in the help desk, and we can help you out there. But rewatch this if you have any questions. Go back over some of your trades. Make sure you're following these rules. Hope it clears it up. And no, Stan, Nadex is not closed on Monday. Nadex will be open Monday, Tuesday, and let's see here. I think right here. See on the calendar, if you go to the calendar, see right here, Apex closed for Thanksgiving holiday. If you click that, not only has Tony updated that, but he's also got some of the different exchange information here as well. I don't know if we've gotten in the Nadex calendar just yet, but we'll get that up there. I think they're open part of the day that day, Tony, on Wednesday. I don't remember offhand. I'll have to check it out. Let's see here. I think he's typing something to me here now. But yeah, he's got all this great information here for you. Oh yeah, right here. Please refer to the listing for the Nadex holiday that's listed on 22nd. It's right here in front of me. See that? Right here. Okay. Nadex holiday schedule for the week. He walks you through and shows it all to you there. Tony's on top of it there. It's right in front of my face. So on the calendar, you can see Nadex's schedule for the full week and all the different contracts there. And then he goes through and gives you all the exchange information. CME, ICE, Eurex, it's all right there on the calendar for you. Okay. All right. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining us today. I'll get this video up here in just a little bit. Have a good evening, and we'll see you in the trade rooms tomorrow. Thanks a lot.